that's good to go.
A small Cambridge inn called the White Horse. The Reformation came.
Restless is raw, unscripted, reformed radio.
Pastor Michael, it's time for Reading Restless. I'll bet everyone thought we forgot.
We didn't forget. Well, we maybe forgot a little bit, but we didn't fully forget. So we are back.
We only have 4 months, and we're still in December. We only have 4 months of things to kind of catch up on in regards to Reading Restless.
Oh boy, guys, this just happens. We're busy. We got a lot going on. Leave us alone. All of the million emails about this, I'm kidding, because like everybody else who also forgot, you only usually do reading challenges like 60% anyway.
It's so true. We just need to do like a. So, Pastor Michael, here on air, let's decide right now if we're going to do a Reading Restless list next year. And do we just say like, and it's a 7-month reading challenge. It is until it's through July of next year.
Maybe it should be just the end of summer because fall comes, right? And everything kicks up and it's holidays and everything else. Although we'll get into it. I've been reading. I just haven't been reading what I said I would.
So,
but yes, we definitely should. We definitely should. We can decide later, maybe, if we're just going to do 7 months or 7 books.
It's going to be because we're here. We're realists with you. We know you want to read, but we also know it's that time of year where, I mean, it is bitterly cold here today, just in case everyone's wondering. It
hurts. I opened my door this morning and it was just steam out the door. Like as soon as the nice warm air hit the outside temperature, it just fogged all up.
Yeah. It is brutally cold outside. I normally don't like to do things to date when we record this, but last night the Iowa State men's Cyclone basketball team set a school record in points scored. So that was a personal high point for me on things that don't really matter and don't really regard this. But it's cold and we get it. And we know our audience aren't the people watching. Like, I'd learned that this is a whole genre of YouTube video. Sorry for this rabbit trail, everyone. We're just, there's this whole genre of motivational YouTube videos that's like emerge from the winter better than everyone else. It's like everyone is just like nothing's gonna happen for 4 months, but not you. You're coming out and everyone's gonna wonder.
I kind of like that. I need some of that.
Oh,
I definitely
don't worry, there's a million videos you can choose. Do you want the like stick man animated ones, the like angry ripped guy yelling at you? But yeah, I mean, next year Reading Restless will be set up in a way so that you can use your winter to come out either fully as ripped as you've ever wanted to be. Maybe you started a new business. Maybe you learned an entirely new skill. But anyways, Reading Restless. Pastor Michael, I have largely followed this, though I have read other things because I have reading to do, everybody. I gotta read things. I read and listen to a lot of things about church planting, and I'm not gonna, give everyone those details, but I read a lot. And but Pastor Michael, tell us in the past, in this fall, has there been what's been your notable thing? I have continued the 38-week Calvin reading plan, everybody. Nice. I'm doing it. I started page for page, baby.
I think I did 2 weeks of that. I think I did 2 weeks, and I had already started before. And so I was jumping in, and I did not keep up with that at all. This year's been insane for us, just as a family and at the church, and things are going well. It's all a good thing. I shared with our congregation this year at our congregational meeting. I was like, hey, we're pretty burned out. It's not because of bad things. there's been hard things. I'm a pastor, right? I mean, you know what church life is like. There's hard things all the time. But like, I'm tired because there's just been so much. There's been so many good things happening, and so much that takes time and a lot of discipleship and things that are great. And quite honestly, like reading, I've just slowed way down on what I've been able to keep up with as far as reading goes. But most recently, this fall, I've gotten into a couple of different things. One, I've begun to reread the book East of Eden by John Steinbeck. We had a
one of the best whoever did it, baby, for sure.
I mean, it's phenomenal. It's fun to get back. It's my second time reading it, and we had a new couple from the church over. We were just talking about reading the classics, and the guy said he had been reading Moby Dick, and we were just talking about different classic books that we've read, and it made me think, man, I just got to reread one of these. And so picked up East of Eden again and have absolutely loved that. Been back into it. I'm only a short ways in, maybe 60 pages or something, but and it's a pretty big novel. And this is not impressive as a read because it's really short. But I also got a small book. It's really like a pamphlet, or like a, more like just something that was spoken originally. I mean, it was originally an address, but by a guy named C.W. Grafton, and it's called 43 Years is it 43 Years at a Country Church? I'm trying to look it up now.
Yep.
43 Years at a Country Church, and it's a Presbyterian minister who was ordained in the later half of the 19th century, and who spent most of his life ministering at a country church. 43 years, right? And there's so much in this. I just read it basically in one sitting, but because that's not a flex. It's like, I mean, I don't know. It's maybe an hour's read. It's not big. But I was so impressed by it. I loved it. As a pastor, there's a lot of just practical, helpful things. Even though I'm not in really a country church by any means, still a lot of the practical advice and what it was like. Just him talking about visitation of his members, and how sometimes it'd be like, well, a lot of these members who can't make it to church because they're so far away, but we're still the closest church. I will go and see them once a year, and it's a whole day event, and it takes me, many hours to get there on horseback. And then I sit with them, and we do, we do Bible study, and we do, different discipleship work and prayer. And they put out a big spread because the pastor's coming, and talks about how, hey, if you tell them you're coming, you go no matter what, right? Doesn't matter what the weather's like, because they're getting everything ready for you. There's no way to call ahead and say, hey, actually, it's not going to work today. It was just impressive. And then also his commitment to things like presbytery and the assembly, because it was hard being a country preacher, talking about, even just the finances of a country preacher. How do you make ends meet? And anyway, it was just a really cool and encouraging testimony from a pastor. And it also was written so beautifully. Like, this is, the kind of guy that would be looked over today, probably. The guy who's just in a small, tiny town, not a huge church. He's not in one of the major metro areas. So he's not, writing all kinds of books. And yet here he was, an incredible writer, very gifted, started a school that had hundreds of kids, in it at times, and was able to teach them far better than probably what we learned, at least through college.
Right.
But it just really cool to hear and read. So that's my most recent finished work that I worked through.
Could we call that a book on the history of your country? Could we?
Probably not, but if we stretch really hard.
That was one of the categories
It's
of
true.
I
I
did
really have not read in the categories. I've got the book on health and wellness, which is for this month.
yep.
I have that sitting on my desk still,
Mm.
but I have not touched it.
So the book I read for the history of our country for reading Restless, it was the John Adams biography that I did mention at the beginning of the year.
And it's great.
It's great. It's very thick, which is why I didn't really read any other books. I mean, this is a 600-page biography of him. Man, did I learn so many interesting things. Dude,
Tell me you don't love John Adams.
I
after
love
reading
John
it.
Adams, and I really kind of hate Alexander Hamilton.
100, dude, that guy's a villain.
I didn't realize he was basically the worst.
He absolutely was one of the worst. Now
How
he
come
did
he got
like
the musical thing? I haven't seen or heard the musical, but how did he get that? How
well,
did
the
he?
musical. They turned the musical into like, hey, this is all about how Alexander Hamilton would love immigration. And Alexander Hamilton was like the most anti-immigration guy ever, right?
Oh,
Like
really?
he hated immigration, even though he himself was in some ways kind of an immigrant. But anyway, no, he was a villain until very late in his life.
What, before he died in the duel? That
Before
place?
he died in the duel,
So everyone
he
knows.
does seem
Spoiler alert, in case you didn't know. Apparently, his redemption arc ends with him shooting at the vice president in a duel at dawn. That's Pastor Michael being like, yeah, that was a big improvement for
no,
her.
it was like right near the end. He does seem to have like a genuine conversion, not long before his death. And like he got married, settled down. Otherwise, he was a philanderer. Like he was not a good guy.
Dude, kind of.
He mocked Christianity. Like
I mean,
he was not a good man.
Yeah, I mean,
That's why everybody loves him today, by the way.
okay, sure.
Because
Now it makes sense. What? But yeah, the John Adams biography was good, except for the part where he was living in Europe. That was pretty boring. But every second he was on American soil, that was really great.
dude, I love that guy.
I mean, again, his reflections on during the war were like, none of us are qualified enough for any of this.
Yeah.
None of us are wise enough, wealthy enough, old enough to know what we're doing. I was like, all right, let's go, church planting. That was encouraging.
Yeah.
I think it just so happened that, like, man, basically everything, you know how people talk about, maybe we'll just say like the current president, doing unprecedented kinds of executive action. I would just like to turn everyone to the John Adams biography to learn that literally none of these things are unprecedented.
Right.
I'll just say that whatever he, as one of the founders, understanding of the Bill of Rights was, he had political opponents arrested under the Sedition Act.
Yep.
So just want to be clear before we start being like, how could we imagine anything going on?
Yeah, but
now,
even that, by the way, like the way that's often painted today, it does make it sound like, oh, he was the worst because he did this, right? He jailed journalists and things like that.
Yep.
John Adams was like, he was too much of like an aristocrat or something like that. But if you actually read about like his side of it, it's like, okay, it wasn't that cut and dry. It definitely was not that simple or straightforward. It was a tough decision. And maybe he was more aristocratic. And maybe that would have been good, by the way.
He did believe in a strong executive. Yep. I mean, again, right, the shocking things are, you learn that like one of the first things the Senate's voting on is like, should we call the president your highness, right? Like these kinds of things. But John Adams, again, fascinating. And even with him arresting these people, fascinating that the person who was most excited that he was going to do it, Thomas Jefferson, who planned on running against him for the presidency, because he knew the exact same thing that is true today. No matter what the situation is, the optics are so bad, it's going to revert. It's going to go into his face.
Dude, the Thomas Jefferson and John Adams, like, and then the fact that they die.
Yeah,
together.
Same day.
Like there's something so good
on the 4th of July after their retirements, and they spend their whole retirement writing each other letters. That's what they do.
Dude, you're telling me God didn't write that story?
He
Of
did.
course he
He
did.
did.
Of course he did. And
He
those two
did.
guys, even though they disagreed in so many ways, the fact that they could work together to some extent and then were just good, basically friends, right? No one else gets it. We were there, we were in the trenches together. And so
Yep.
they have that relationship the rest of their lives. There's just something really cool about that. John Adams' relationship to his wife, by the way, and to his
Yep.
kids, and the
Yep.
way he took care of that, like he was just a good man. He was careful and good with money, which is not true of Thomas Jefferson,
Nope.
which is not true of George Washington, which
Nope.
is not true of almost any of the other founding fathers.
Right.
No, like he was just like a really solid, stable guy.
Yeah. One of the most interesting things is Thomas Jefferson, right, is known for selling his personal library to start the Library of Congress after it was burned down in the war. And John Adams was like, oh, I guess it's good that he's going to get credit for doing that. But John Adams knew, and no one else did, that he did that because he was in crippling debt and was like literally like about to like go be bankrupted. And this
Yeah.
was how this is why he came up with this philanthropic idea.
Oh,
to
what if
sell
I
his
did
whole
this? Yeah.
library to Congress. And so but yeah, I again, it was I'm so glad I read it. It makes me want to read more things just in general. And so I'm glad I read it. Yeah, Pastor Michael, so you said the book on health and wellness is sitting on your desk. What book do you mean?
It is. It's called Breathe. You recommended
Oh
it to
yeah, it's
me.
a good one.
It's all about breathing and the importance of how you breathe, which I don't breathe well. I know that I don't. So I need to read this, especially right now while I'm sick. And so I'm just all like, closed up. But just normally, I know that my breathing is a problem. And honestly, I've been thinking lately about how it would help me even just in preaching and speaking all the time, which I don't necessarily have a problem doing, but I think that I could do better if I was breathing more properly. I know that whatever I'm doing is not how I'm supposed to be breathing. And so I'd like to work on that. And so that's why I picked it up. It's just still sitting on my desk. Maybe I'll bring it with me. We have a vacation coming up in January, a longer vacation. And so maybe I'll grab that and read that on my vacation.
I love that book. It's both very well written, and but also very interesting and helpful. I think the book that I recommended for people, which I read last year, the book Good Energy, or maybe I read it at the beginning of this year, on the like, what should I start thinking about if I'm like on that natural, crunchier, whatever, those kinds of things. That is the book I recommend for you. I think it's like, and I mean, that woman is now involved with advising the FDA, which Senator Chuck Grassley, who's serving at 92 years old, objected to since she's opposed pesticides, and he was angry that it could affect the use of pesticides on all food in America. And so, dude, I mean, wild stuff.
The image of a 92-year-old man still leading and opposing somebody because they're against pesticides is honestly a great picture of our country. That's honestly a pretty good snapshot.
A medical doctor's opinion who's written openly. And
now, admittedly, she's a little weird, right?
Yeah.
She's like, also like, I kind of say a little prayer to my food before I eat it. So she's funky and weird.
Yeah.
But some of the basics, very good.
I think it's such a good place that you can get all of that. The book on this issue that I did read this year was a person related to these things, but we read, and I didn't read it recently, I read it a long time ago, but I read it this year, so I'm counting it. I read the 10-day detox diet. And so this isn't the crappy ways people talk about detox. I need that to be very clear. When I'm talking, I am not talking about like, just drink lavender water for 4 days so your liver is whatever. This
gone. Your liver.
Yeah, actually, like all of the. By the way, spoiler: if you saw a detox diet on on like TikTok, you just destroyed an organ. Like that's all you did. So please don't do that. Please also don't listen to us for any medical advice. Admittedly, don't listen to, in my opinion, 92-year-old senators for for health advice either.
Although, dude, if he can still do it in 92, I mean, maybe there's a debate about whether or not he's doing it, but if he's still
not.
kicking at 92, he did
He's
something
kicking.
right.
He's kicking. He's not doing it, but
You got to see one of our recent Patreons where we talk about health food conspiracies and how to work through that stuff, because I think it explains a lot of how can you have a 92-year-old pesticide enjoyer?
Yep.
Well, sometimes you can. That's why. Like you actually it sometimes it works.
It came out right before this episode. So it is the most recent Patreon, which you can see right now.
There you go. Go check it out.
I'll just tease it. It's called Nicotine is Good for You. So get ready to enjoy that episode. But the 10-day detox, it's by Mark Hyman. He is in this group of these doctors. And this guy, here's his connection to evangelicalism. He is the guy who essentially wrote the Daniel diet for one Pastor Rick Warren, noted trainer of Charles Spurgeon, weight loss expert, trained the most pastors who's ever lived. This guy's the guy who actually ghost wrote.
Dude, full circle. You're just reading the Daniel diet again.
Except without crappy Bible verse use. The guy, like, here's what we're talking about. And so what his thing is at his functional medicine clinic, they have cured people of type 2 diabetes.
Yep.
And what they've done is they've been like, you are going to go on an extreme, like no dietary sugars or carbs for like 90 days, like 3 months. And they've reversed type 2 diabetes. They've reversed all kinds of health things with it. And so he's on the big, like, sugar, not nicotine. Sugar is the thing that's like destroying everything. And again, probably a grain of truth to his point. But what they started to find is they started backing it down. How long could a normal person do this to get a lot of the benefits of going off sugar in this way? Now, to be clear, you don't get to not eat sugar for 10 days and then be like back to red velvet cake and eggnog for every meal and like see any benefit. But it is interesting. It is interesting to find out, just how that works. And so book I read, I think it's interesting. It too has some kooky things, right? You're supposed to journal through your 10 days of no sugar and whatever. But again, it's one of those things where it's like, it's something you can do. And there is no like there's nothing wrong with you when you do it, right? Not eating sugar is not going to kill you. I will tell you, by day 3 of not eating sugar, you're probably going to be pretty convinced you literally now have a terminal illness, that there's something so wrong with you. You will be shocked.
Your body feels like it's shutting down.
Yeah.
It's not. It's not, but it shows you that it's pretty dependent on sugar right now.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So maybe a book you might be interested in. All right, as we continue our whistle stop tour through books, a Puritan paperback. Pastor Michael, right now before bed, I am reading a few pages of Samuel Rutherford's letters, which are they're kind of unbelievable. I'll just they are. It's hard, and I think here's the thing. Here's my middle of the book review. It's hard to read them. They are so devotional. They are of such a high quality. It is impossible for me to imagine a person speaking this way and being sincere about it, though, in our day.
Yeah.
Isn't
that weird?
The flowerliness, the degree of the devotional way he speaks.
Yeah.
We just are like, nobody's really like that.
It's not real. Yeah, I can't tell. I've had this same experience, Matt. This is such a great point. We should probably talk about this more sometime, because is it because we're so cynical and immature, or is there something to the fact that there was some show to it all?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I actually don't know. And my assumption is it's a little bit of both. You still get this, by the way, sometimes when we go to General Assembly this coming year. Dude, you're going to see there's some guys that kind of put on that flavor.
Mm.
And as a regular old Midwestern man, I'm often thinking, I don't know about that. I don't know if that's real at all. I don't think that's how that guy talks in his group chats.
Yeah.
So I think there's still some of that flavor in certain cultures, at least
Mhm.
like within the United States. You still get at least pieces of it, but it's not as much for sure. It doesn't have that same height that some of that does. And I really love it. So I read the Rare Jewel of Christian Contentment this year.
Mm.
And it's phenomenal, right? I mean, it
Yeah,
really, like,
it is.
it is one of those things that hits really hard and is practical, like directly practical, despite the lofty language. It feels like, oh, this guy's talking right to my heart, right? But I do feel that sometimes, like, yeah, you could have said that in a second, you know. But I don't know if that's probably just the, hey, I'm weak, you know, like I'm immature, my mind is immature. It's hard for me to sit and just read. I love reading. In the last year or two, it has become more difficult for me to just sit and read and not do anything else, not check anything else for any length over, 10, 20 minutes. That's not good.
Right.
It's probably me,
Yeah.
but I can't help the fact that I also feel like that. I don't know, man.
Yeah. I will say to you, Pastor Michael, those motivational videos also have a genre of them about reclaiming your ability to read for long periods of time.
Yeah.
So,
I'm working on it. It is something that I'm trying to work on this year.
so let me read. This is about. Let me just read a section, and this isn't like I'm choosing the most like wild section or like the most flowery section. But so Rutherford was removed from his church, basically as persecution. He was in one of the letters he mentions as to why. And here is just a section of his letter that he wrote. I just want to give people a flavor of what we mean by this. This is a letter he wrote to one of the people he writes to a lot, just about that the honor that I have prayed for these 16 years with submission to the Lord's will, my kind Lord has now bestowed on me, even to suffer for my royal and princely King Jesus, his kingly crown, in the freedom of his kingdom that the Father has given me. The forbidden lords have sentenced me to deprivation within confinement of the town of Aberdeen. I am charged against the king's name, and I will remain there at our king's pleasure, however they give it. Howbeit Christ's green cross newly laid upon me be somewhat heavy, while I call to mind the many fair and sweet days my comfortable soul has, and the souls of many others, and the young ones in Christ plucked from the breasts, and the inheritance of God laid to waste. Yet the cross of Christ is accompanied with many sweet refreshments, the joy of the Holy Ghost, the faith that the Father hears the voice of this sighing prisoner with undoubted hope, as sure as my Lord liveth. After this night I shall see daylight, and Christ's sky to the clear up again upon me, and his poor kirk. And in this strange land and among strange faces, he will give me favor among the eyes of men, to his poor oppressed servant, who down not, but love that lovely one, that princely one, our own Jesus, the comforter of his soul. And well, I'll do one more sentence. All would be well if I would be free of old challenges of guiltiness for the neglect of my calling, for speaking too little of his well-beloved's crown kingdom. This is my only exercise. My fear is that I have done too little good in my ministry. I abhor no judgment. And he goes on, right? Like, but this is what I mean. This is the like tone and
For a
every
letter, you got to think. I wonder how much, like, if you see the original letters,
yeah,
is that all scratched out? Is there like,
right.
notes? Is there like, hey, I like you messed up a word? Or is this guy so like good in his mind that all of this is composed as it's coming out? That I'd be really interested to know. What did it actually look like? That it's just an interesting thing. If you can have such clarity of mind,
Yeah.
to be able to work something like that out, by time you put pen to paper, it's really impressive.
Yeah.
And I wish I was more that kind of man.
And I do think probably, as you mentioned, that it probably has something to do with the fact, right, in that time, right, what you don't text and letters, like I've got to I'm not gonna rifle off a few quick texts to Michael like that I just take for granted. I can like
Right.
say whatever I want to you. You can be like, hey, what did you mean?
And it's just instant. So you can just say, hey, check this thing out. Oh, cool. Right. Like if you
Yep.
saw our text thread, that's basically what it is.
Yep.
Oh man, what about this thing? That's crazy.
Hey, I'm doing this. Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah. Pray for me. Okay.
And you think
Like
about the trade-offs, even in that, the trade-offs of, hey, it is cool to be in regular communication with the people that you're close to. Also, you lose then something of like a forced skill of being able to put thought to paper at length consistently over time.
right.
That's just something we don't have to the same degree.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but it isn't, it's a great thing to read before bed, right? What a, just a great, like they're all, they're a page or two long, and it's just this like, again, right? When you read his letter, right? The thing we should learn to do, I will never speak like him, but right. The thing is like, he is what he's doing in these letters, and the reason these have lasted is, he's framing his experience. How would I frame it? Sheerly through Christ and in relating it to him.
Yeah.
And that is possible and good and healthy.
Yep.
So yeah, no, I am, so I'm happy with that. I guess we have a book by the Ante-Nicene Fathers. Do you have a favorite of the old ones? I realize I don't, I mean, I read these, I read parts of these with relative frequency, but I don't know if I don't know if I've read one this year, which means maybe I need to throw one of the shorter ones on, like one of Clement's epistles.
Right. Just work through Clement or Didache or something quick.
Or Polycarp's epistle or something quick.
Yeah. So I also did not read these this year. I read a fair amount of.
Yeah. What were you reading?
And finishing anything particular, but a fair amount of Reformation era guys dealing with Roman Catholic apologists, and so their quotations of a lot of the fathers. And so I did a lot more of that this year. I do have a volume 1 of the Ante-Nicene Fathers again on my shelf as one of my like, okay, I'm reading it this year. Didn't do it. This honestly, this year I had less just sit down and read time this year than I have for many, many years. And part of that was probably me, right? Part of it was I was probably spending more time doing things that I could have been reading. And so that's something that I need to work on. But I also just had less time to just sit and read. So I did a fair amount of audio type things. But I have listened to the Ante-Nicene Fathers, audio recordings of their things. It is harder for me, and I think generally harder to pay attention and to follow some of the thought and stuff like that. It's not that you can't do it. It's that when I read these, I like to be able to sit with a pen, writing in the margins, taking notes. And so I did not have time to do that this year, or I didn't give it the time is probably a better way to put it.
All right, Pastor Michael, as we come to this year end, let's let's just reflect. It can be off this list or otherwise, because I know my answer as I think about it. What is the best book you read in 2025? Do you think you have one off the top of your head?
Oh man, I wish I had my list. So I'm not at my office right now. If
Sure.
the video of this ever comes out, you see I'm just in my eBay room. See my bins of things
Mhm.
listed on eBay. Check it out if you need a Christmas gift.
That's
But so I don't have my list of everything that I read. I've probably read about 30 books or something like that this year, that includes commentaries, that includes books that I read for other, like, directly hands-on church purposes, right?
Yeah.
My
like
favorite book that I read this year is On the Incarnation by
Mm.
St. Athanasius. I read that again, and I read several other um, books by Athanasius that was really phenomenal and I loved. So that is the best, but I've read it before, and so it
Yeah,
doesn't seem like I
fine.
would
I think
put it
that's
in that
fair.
list. This one I just read, this short address by C.W. Grafton, put out by Log College Press, was so phenomenal. It was probably the main book I read this year, and just felt like a deep sense of like how much this applies directly to the things that I'm doing. And
Mm.
so I found it incredibly encouraging and insightful and beautiful to read as a pastor. And so that too, I would put at least up there as one of my favorite things that I read. And it was super short.
That's great. Pastor Michael, I think I have an answer to this for myself, and I don't even think it's very close. Till We Have Faces.
Oh man, I read that again this year too. That's up there too.
But obviously, it was the first time I read it. If you are a man, woman, or child, and you have not read Till We Have Faces, I mean, just ask for it for Christmas. Rob someone, do whatever you have to. Read this book.
Dude, it's so good.
I
Right?
mean,
It's so good.
it was the best book that I read this last year, and I read some good books this last year. I had a good reading year. I wish I kept a nice list like you do. And I don't think it was very close, frankly. How good that book is. I did not read East of Eden this year, because that is a book that actually does deserve, at least gets to join the conversation of that quality of book.
Yep.
But Till We Have Faces is such
No,
a
there's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. I do think it is easily one of the greatest things I've ever read.
it is it's it makes me thankful that books exist when I read that. Like,
Dude,
just
isn't that awesome? You guys, you got to read it. I know we already did an episode where we said this a lot.
I know,
It is
and it
true.
was probably not that interesting because it was like, dude, wasn't it so good? Yes,
Yeah, it was good.
it was, and I can't even tell you about it because of the amount that I can't spoil. And again, I'll just say this. I probably said it in the last one. Here's the experience you get as an adult if you read it. Your children, when they read Chronicles of Narnia, when they read The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, it is not apparent to your 9-year-old, your 10-year-old, that they are reading a basically shot for shot Christian allegory. They don't know that. They just are like, they know there are like these general Christian themes going on, but they don't know where it's going. They don't know that the good lion guy is going to die for everyone to save them. They don't get that.
Right.
And part of the power of that book for children and for anyone, but part of the power is the realization of that message. That is part of the power. And again, for adults like C.S. Lewis's friends, even, come on, man, it's a bit much. He was right that this is children's literature. He was right in that defense completely, by the way. But I've realized Till We Have Faces works like that on adults. You have no idea how this is going to land. It's kind of this something Christian is going on, but you have no idea. Like, I had no idea. Like, what is the thing that's going to happen? How is this What is the like Christian thing?
It is everything good about C.S. Lewis that you find in each of his books.
Yes.
It's all pulled together in
It
this
is.
book. This is the like magnum opus.
It is. It's his best book. It is maybe the best book of that century. And it is the best book I read last year, and it was not even close. Guys, this is Reading Restless. Pastor Michael, if we do Reading Restless this next year, maybe we need to find a way to get someone to sponsor it, like Reformation Heritage Books or something, since they took all my money Black Friday week, just discounting every book. I don't know how they like exist. They're like everything 30% off, everything 50% off, 30% off. Like, I don't know how they did that. Maybe they should sponsor maybe they should sponsor Reading Restless next year.
We just got to be good about getting them to do it. This is
no,
our problem with all sponsors is we're like, hey, this would be cool. And then we just don't follow through.
It's cool that you all listen to our show. It's cool that you probably want to find out why nicotine's good for you and are going to sign up for the Patreon.
You're our real sponsors.
You are. Those really are the only thing keeping us going. So thank you. 5 stars only. Reading Restless. This is great.